That was Martina McBride performing one of her mega anthems, Independence Day. Now, by 1990, Martina McBride left Kansas City and moved to the big city of Nashville to pursue her dreams with her husband, John, who landed a job with country superstar Garth Brooks. And soon, you were right on your way, weren't you?
Yeah.
I should say soon. I'm sure there's a lot more work involved. How did you go from selling merchandise on the road with Garth Brooks to his opening act? Going from small clubs to massive stadium tours.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. I mean, I made a demo tape and I shopped it around to every record label and got turned down. And so then I made another one and got lucky and got signed to RCA Records. And that was toward the end of the tour that where I was selling T-shirts for Garth. And so when he went out to tour again, he needed an opening act, and he asked if I wanted to be his opening act, which was just so generous because. You know, I really don't think he'd ever heard me sing, and he certainly had never seen me on stage, so he had no idea whether I was going to be any good or not.
You already had a record deal when you were opening for him? And you had, oh, you did? Okay.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Your friend Katie Couric
Yeah?
had another question for you.
Okay.
Check it out.
Hi, Martina. It's Katie. I have a question. I understand when you first moved to Nashville, you came up with a pretty crafty way of getting your demo tape to stand out. Care to share?
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. I had, you know, record companies don't take unsolicited material, meaning you can't just walk in and say, here's my demo tape, listen to it. They'll, you know, and if you send it in,
it'll end up in the trash
can.
can.
Yeah, exactly. So RCA Records, I went and got a purple envelope, which I thought would kind of stand out. And I put my tape in there and I wrote requested material on the outside of the envelope.
Genius.
So, well, you know, it worked.
Yeah, I
because
guess
they thought,
so.
well, okay, and they got, you know, past the front desk, back to the A&R guy, and about 3 weeks went by, and I got a phone call saying, we heard your tape, and we want to see a live audition. So
you had to set up a whole...
Set up a showcase is what we called it.
How was that for you? Were you nervous? I mean, knowing that they're in there and this is your shot?
Oh yeah, but it was awesome, you know, and it was such a big deal. My parents drove down from Kansas, and
really?
we put together this whole showcase, and they actually came back that night after the showcase and offered me a record deal.
Wow. Well, you know, it's interesting because your first album in 1992, The Time Has Come, it was great and it was really warmly received by the critics and the fans, but it didn't have like the hit songs on it. Did that make you nervous? Because this is your first album and record companies, they look for the hits.
You know, I don't remember. It's been so long ago.
It's been so long.
I don't remember what I was thinking. I mean, I know that it was a very traditional country album, and yeah, you're right. We just didn't have, you know, the hits on there. We had songs that made an impact, though. You know, we had a song like "Cheap Whiskey," which was a single that got a lot of attention. It just didn't go up the charts, and so so we went back. You know, I was allowed another chance, which is the great news, because a lot of times if you don't have a hit, you're kind of. So I was allowed to go back in and make another record, and we. I think I found a little bit more of my style and my sound, and you know, made the record called The Way That I Am. We had hits. We had My Baby Loves Me, and we had Independence Day.
The hits kept coming, right, starting with the second album, but so did a little bit of controversy with Independence Day, and I was so shocked to find out that the radio stations banned it because of its subject matter. It was so taboo of domestic violence.
Right.
Did you feel at the time, like obviously you picked this song specifically, were you nervous because it was such a risk so early on in your career, or did you kind of have a...
You know, I don't know that I thought of it as a risk, to be honest.
Really?
I mean, I knew, well, yeah, like I probably did, but I just felt so passionate about it, and so I knew it was such a great song. It was so well written and so emotional, and I just loved it. And you know, kudos to my record company for putting it out as a single, because it definitely was something that that kind of song was not being heard on the radio.
No. Well, that subject matter wasn't being discussed or even sung about by women, especially.
Right. Yeah, it's, you know, I'm very grateful for that song. You know, we had Independence Day came out, and then we had a single that didn't do so well after that, and then we took some time, made another record, and so there were many times when I would do shows, and you know, I had a couple, like My Baby Loves Me and Independence Day, and Independence Day was always got such great reaction, and there were many times in the early years when I would walk on the bus and think, thank God for Independence Day, because it was a song that, you know, the audience just really always related to.
When did country music and country radio actually, when did they embrace the song fully? Do you remember? Did it take a while?
It was interesting, that story, because we could do a whole show on that song
Oh,
and that
really?
story, because it came out, and it was out for about, I want to say, like 11 weeks. And it was really struggling in the bottom parts of the chart, and it was probably never going to get past 40. And then the O.J. Simpson, Nicole Brown Simpson
Oh,
tragedy
wow,
happened.
that's right.
And all of a sudden it became topical. So some stations played it, and they started playing it, and we went on some TV shows, and then, but there were still a lot of stations that never did play it and never would play it. And I can remember being so, like, just, they were saying, well, we're going to lose the single, you know, there's probably 25 stations that are never going to, that don't want to play the song. And I said, give me their phone numbers, I want to call them up, because I want to have a conversation about this. I want to know why they're not playing the song, and I want to just tell them how passionate I am about the song. And
Good for you. Did you?
yes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
And some of
Just a
them-
glimpse of one conversation.
I just
do you
said,
remember?
well, yeah, I can remember specifically this one conversation with this program director who didn't want to play the song, and he said, you know, I just don't think that belongs on my radio station. And I said, well, you're talking about it on your 6 o'clock news, right?
Yeah.
Every day. And then he said, yeah, and the video is so intense. And the other day it came on, and my daughter walked through and was asking questions, and then it brings up, I have to sit and, I have to explain everything, and I'm like, and that's a bad thing? I mean,
Yeah.
so it was just a different time, and it was, he never did play the song, by the way.
Do we know his
some of
name?
No, but some of them did turn the corner and did start playing it because of those phone calls, and so it was just such a passionate time,
Yeah, I
in my
bet.
career. I was just fired up about that
I
song.
love knowing that you actually called them up and said that. I think that's that one was for the girls.
Yes.
All right. When we come back, Martina McBride performs her new single, Ride, off her latest release, Shine, right here on A&E's Private Sessions. P.S. Did you know Martina McBride loved the album Frampton Comes Alive when she was just a kid? Imagine what a thrill it was when she recently performed with him on stage singing Baby I Love Your Way. Now you know. Private Sessions comes right back in just a moment.